Alright everyone, it's time for an extra video here actually, if you're watching on YouTube. A third video in the day, so you know it's cool. 7 more creators that you should be following. And by the way, links in the description, and I'll pin it below as well. Both to their YouTube and to their BitChute channels, with the exception of the 7th person who I don't think is on BitChute actually. And I'll go through these and explain a little bit about what they do, why you should be following them, and you can subscribe to them on YouTube, on BitChute, or on both. I would include Odyssey links, except for the length, number one, and the fact that I think only 2 of these users are actually on Odyssey. So I decided to be, I'm more organized because OCD. The first one is Gifts Ungiven. Now actually this is someone that I worked with before, and I meant to do the shout out literally for over a year, but couldn't get around to it. And so again, links in the description. And basically she does political commentary with like sort of an 80s aesthetic twist. It's funny because that's actually like the political commentary side, but actually we were working together collaborating on music. There's music on my channel featuring Gifts Ungiven actually, doing mostly like synthy music. Couple of covers and some original songs, which is fun. Of course, I don't have a recording space here. You know, if you're going to belt it out, because you have to be able to project your voice, you kind of need a garage or something, because you don't want to wake up the neighbors. Then you have problems. But it's good content overall. It's sort of a satire, I suppose you could say, making fun of the clown world, if you will. Number 2 is Newsmax. Now, why would I be shouting out specifically a news station? Of course, this is, technically speaking, you would fit it in as mollusk media. Like, Newsmax is definitely better than like a HuffPost or something like that. Didn't one of their founders just get arrested for child porn? I think something like that, so it gives you an indicator. It never happened at Newsmax. But also, it's one of the largest sort of semi-alt media sites. I think you can even make an extra category for mollusk media sites that have decided to be pro-free speech and liberty, and Newsmax would fit in there. And also, again, a link to their BitChute, because actually they are the first major media firm to actually have a BitChute channel. And this is, by the way, the reason why I decided to make this video now. Ultimately, what tipped the balance is that Newsmax joined BitChute, because I think that is massively, massively important. That will not be the last site to do so. You're about to see, over the next year, with Trump joining Rumble, Newsmax joining BitChute, and so forth, you are going to see an exodus, the likes of which hasn't happened yet. I'm very glad to be in a pole position, let's face it, when it comes to new tech. I'm going to be reaping those rewards. Again, I suggest you run and catch up with that gravy train real quick. Number 3, Axel, Afriku, actually, both YouTube and semi-active BitChute. I'm not sure whether it auto-collates. I'll have to talk to Ray about that one, because at least for a while it wasn't. If you want old-school YouTube, because, you know, if you're a millennial like me and you joined YouTube in the 2000s, you remember YouTube as the place for crazy shit. Tourette's guy, bum fights, dangerous things like, you know, Tide Pod Challenge is so late in the game compared to some of the weird shit you had back then. And a lot of people saying and doing weird off-the-wall stuff because it was very novel. You hook up a webcam and it's like, wow, I act like a total freak. I act like a clown. I can tell bizarre stories that, you know, I've written over the last 10 years and stuffed in the attic in a briefcase. And this is basically it. He's a German dude and he says and does like random insane things. I can't even quite make sense of it. And a lot of people apparently really don't like him and see him very negatively. I think it's funny. Like, he had one video, I think it was entitled, "I'm going to inject myself with horse shit," or something like that. Had a turkey baster. It's just, it's amusing to me. Number 4, Reuben report. Now, do I agree with everything, on everything with Reuben? No, certainly not. I mean, is he technically a top-level competitor? Because according to that analysis they did, like last year, where the 2 most prominent libertarian voices, like in YouTube, yeah, kind of, but I think that generally speaking, he's a cool dude and right on many issues. Of course, he has that leaning. Although I think he disowned the term libertarian specifically recently. I don't know exactly the story behind that. But he does analysis and sort of the current events commentary. It's sort of similar, although his commentary, of course, is more polished than mine. It requires more editing effort, so I enjoy. I'm a subscriber of his on both platforms. Number 5 is Sarah Corra, and I'm not sure if it's Corra her or Corra. Not actually sure which pronunciation, so sorry. The Crusader Gal, actually, is her moniker. Again, links in the description. And she does similar analysis as well. And a lot of it is really geared towards the hypocrisy, I think, that you see in culture. That is the stupidity of legacy media coverage, the stupidity of mainline politicians, the visceral hate that they have actually in some cases for certain races and groups of people. And this is what's, sort of called out on her channel. One thing, of course, is she's strictly a religious Christian. So it's definitely on that side of the commentary. It's basically a 180 from mine. Religious versus irreligious, Christian versus don't really believe in that stuff. But it's good commentary anyway, so you should take a look at that. Number 6, and this is Due Diligence 3.0 at this point, I think. Lotus Eaters. This is Sargon's new, well, not new anymore, but newer effort on his sort of podcast and with the Lotus Eaters. It's sort of a takeoff of the initial Sargon material. So now he's got Sargon of Akkad, Thinkery, and then the Lotus Eaters. And it's done pretty well, actually. Initially, I was worried he was stretching himself too thin. I figured if he throttles back on the other material and starts focusing on this new venture for linguistic purposes, it might actually fail. It might blow up in his face because he loses audience, but actually it's done well. Again, long-form commentary, very good material on basically every subject under the sun. It seems to be a little bit more news-geared than philosophy/analysis-geared. So it's different slightly from the Thinkery content as well, of course, gaming-related. And number 7... this is Zanmato TV, although he's going under a new moniker, and I don't even remember the whole thing. It's something like the leader of the federal zone of Arizona or something like that. Now, full disclosure, this is a dude living in Germany. He's eclectic, let's just say that. By the way, I think he does have an understanding of the occult. And I'm not deriding the dude. He goes off on rants, and he'll walk into churches and start, saying random things about obtaining the blue hypercube or the red triangle of Saturn or something, and eventually get kicked out. He's actually been arrested multiple times. Apparently in Germany, it's illegal to just record yourself, I guess, or some shit like that. Maybe they get him on loitering charges or something, but he has an understanding broadly of multiple mythological systems. I think, however, there's a little bit of maybe, I'm not going to say craziness, but just his delivery is a little bizarre. It's a little bit harder to understand maybe for some people. It's interesting content though, and it's very long form. So basically a normal day, if you talk about workhorses, he's making 6-7 videos. That's a normal day. Sometimes it's 20. And he's gotten, don't tell nobody, but he's gotten banned before. Keeps coming back, which is what you should do, fight the system. But yeah, just generally interesting content. Sometimes it's fun to just put it on and zone out as well. You used to be able to do that, and YouTube would keep playing videos by the same person. Now you have to collate them into a fucking playlist to do that, otherwise it does its up next, and pretty soon you're listening to the Young Turks ramble about how watermelons are racist or something. So yeah, there's 7 channels that you should check out. Again, links to both their YouTubes and BitChutes, with the exception of Zanmato TV. He's not, to my knowledge, on BitChute, actually. Or any other site, actually. I actually have a book by him. He wrote a book. I can't remember the exact title, and it's sort of his philosophical meanderings. The format of the book is a little bit odd. It's I don't know. It's almost in pamphlet form, actually. It was good. It was worth a read. So yeah, those channels, definitely check them out and subscribe to them all. If you're on BitChute, or if you're seeing this on BitChute, certainly you probably are, go through and grab up those channels and get some more good content. That's about all. Peace out.